Hello everyone. Hi Karthik. Hi Dilip. Hi Felix.
Yes.
Hi hi. Yeah. So guys, any doubts? Anything
Hello.
from previous
Good
class?
evening, Akash.
Good evening.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Dilip, tell me.
Sir, public IP it's not showing, sir.
Because you have more than 10 public IPs. Can you share your screen? We discussed this last class. Can you share your screen, please? Felix had that issue. So yeah. Go to public IP. Public IP. Search for public IP on the top. Hmm. Select that first one. How many IPs are there?
313 is there.
Three. Your screen is stuck for me.
Actually, Akash, I told that problem, no public IP problem.
Yeah.
For me also, if I delete that public IP listed over here,
Mm-hmm.
after that it is showing only three only, but it is not at all showing. Again, if I delete the resource group only, if I remove the resource group only, it is getting access to renew the new public IP.
So there is a restriction for each resource group, is it? That's what it is.
Okay, okay.
No, I'm asking you. Did it work after you delete your resource group?
What Felix is saying it's correct. For me also public IPT was not generating. So I delete resource group again create virtual machine. It was assigning public.
Okay. Okay. Maybe Dilip, you can follow the same.
Okay, sir.
Fine. Any other questions? Any doubts? Okay, guys. Moving on. We will continue with the other topics which we have while we are creating our virtual machine. Okay. So, resource group. You're clear. What is the name of the VM? You're clear. And all these first concepts, you do not have any questions, right? So all these are clear for you. Going on, the next one is a disk. Okay, there are four different types of disks you can create. So you have premium SSD, standard SSD, and standard HDD. And apart from that, you have ultra disk which you can create. Okay. Apart from that, the next thing which we are going to discuss is regarding the VNet. Okay. VNet is something. It's your virtual network on cloud. Okay. So that is your VNet which you want to deploy this particular virtual machine, and the subnet where you want to deploy the VM. Okay. And apart from that, what is the public IP you want? If you do not want a public IP, you give here as none. Okay. Otherwise, you go ahead and give a public IP. Okay. And the network interface security group. Okay. So you give a basic security group, or you give an advanced security group, or you do not attach a security group at all. Okay. Depending on your requirement, you will just give that. And what exactly the port which needs to be open. Okay. If it is for a Linux machine, it is port 22, and for a Windows machine, it is port 3389. Otherwise, if you have a website or a web server you are running, then you can use port 80 or port 443. Okay, so these are the rules related to the VNet and subnet. Okay, and the network security group which we discussed last class. Okay, and you can select this option if you want to delete the public IP and NIC when the VM is deleted. So this is a very useful option. Okay, wherein the NIC and the public IP will be deleted automatically when the VM is deleted. Okay, and accelerated network is something which will have a like you will have a very low latency and you will have a very high throughput. That means the data which is going to be flowing, right, that is going to be faster, and the latency will be very, very less when you enable something called accelerated networking in that particular VNet. Okay, and load balancer, that is some topic which we will get to later. Okay, probably in today's class we might get to load balancing. Okay, so load balancing is something wherein you have multiple VMs and you are trying to set a load balancer which is going to manage the traffic between your VMs. Okay, so that is with respect to load balancing. Okay, so when we move to the management section, okay, you have different options like the monitoring option where you want to have boot diagnostics enabled. Okay, we will see what exactly a boot diagnostics is going to do. Okay, a boot diagnostics, it is basically a troubleshooting method. Okay, so wherein when you are trying to troubleshoot any particular case wherein you are not able to RDP, but you want to see the status of your server. Okay, you can simply go to boot diagnostics here and you can see what exactly is the state of the server. Okay, so this is currently on. That means my VM is up and running. Similarly, if I go to this VM and search for boot diagnostics, it is not running. So I will not be able to see anything. So once I start it, okay, and see the boot diagnostics, okay, I should be able to see what exactly is happening. Okay. So step by step, you can just see all the screens like the boot loading screen or whatever the screen which is happening on the server right now. Okay, you will be able to see it here. Okay, so that is the functionality of having a boot diagnostics. Okay, very, very important tool with respect to the troubleshooting perspective. There are certain cases where the server will be up and running, okay, but you will not be able to RDP into the virtual machine. Okay, so in that case, okay, the screenshot was not found. I'm refreshing. Okay, there are certain cases where the VM will be running. Okay, you will see this particular screen. Okay, but you will not be able to RDP into it. Okay, so in those cases, what exactly can you do? Through that you can troubleshoot. Okay, if you are seeing this particular screen, there is a certain way in which you can troubleshoot. If you are seeing a blue screen, or if you are seeing a black screen, there is a certain way you can troubleshoot this particular issue. Okay, so with respect to that, you will use boot diagnostics. So this is where you enable that. Okay, so enable with manage the storage account, enable with custom storage account, wherein you get to specify the storage account name or completely disable it. Based on your requirement, you will do that. Okay, and the next one is guest OS diagnostics. So this is basically when there is something wrong with your guest OS, something goes wrong with your guest OS. So if you enable this, the logs will be collected. Okay, and the next one is identity. Okay, identity, it is basically um, it will assign a system managed identity. Okay, so basically if you see this, it says that it enables an Azure resource to authenticate to the cloud service. For example, you can use any other service in order to authenticate into your virtual machine. Okay, so that is with the help of identity. So if you enable this feature using a different service, you can log in into this particular virtual machine. Okay, and if you are integrated to Azure AD, you can use this particular setup. Okay, and you can use Azure AD to troubleshoot. I mean, you to log in into your machine. So whoever is part of the Active Directory environment will directly have gain access to the server, which means the VM is added to the domain. Okay, so based on that, you can access this particular virtual machine. And auto shutdown is something wherein during the weekends when you're not actually using the VM, you can set up auto shutdown, wherein at particular time during the particular day of the week, you will your virtual machine will shut down. Okay, and you can turn it on whenever you want. Okay, and enable backup is something which is very, very essential for your virtual machine. Okay, so if you need to set up backups in order to, in the future, if something goes wrong, okay, in order to retain those details or get it back, you need a backup. Okay, so I will quickly show you how to enable the backup. Okay, how exactly can you do it? You can either enable it here, okay, wherein you can give the policy type and everything, or you can also do it from here. Okay, so how does a backup work? A backup is exactly a point in time uh, state of your virtual machine. Okay, let's say if you are taking a backup at a particular time. Okay, so 1 minute, I'll just show you. Let's say this is your virtual machine. Okay, so this is my VM and I am taking a backup of it. Okay, so let's say at 8 a.m. I am taking a backup. Okay, 8 a.m. backup is taken. So that 8 a.m. state, whatever state the VM is in at 8 a.m., okay, that is stored in this particular backup data. Okay, in the future, something goes wrong in the virtual machine. Let's say at 9 a.m., okay, something goes wrong with my virtual machine. What I can do is I can recover my VM from this particular backup. Okay, from the 8 a.m. state, whatever data was there, I can recover that VM and put it back to its own functionality. Okay, so that the data loss which is going to happen is going to minimize. Okay, so when you are taking a backup, okay, you have something called a recovery services vault. Very important concept. Okay, recovery services vault, which is basically it is a place where your backup is stored, and this is a place wherein you centrally manage everything. Okay, centrally manage your backup and backup data. Okay, so this needs to be configured when you are trying to create a backup. Okay, so when you are doing it for the first time, let's say I haven't done for this particular virtual machine. Okay, this is my VM. So it will ask whether I want to create a new vault, recovery services vault, or use the existing vault. Okay, if I say create a new vault, okay, a new vault gets created. Okay, but I have two type of settings here. Okay, one is either a standard one or an enhanced one. Okay, there is a difference between these two. Okay, a standard one is basically it is once a day backup. The backup happens every once in a day. Okay, and then you have 1 to 5 days operational tier. That means there are two tiers when backup happens. Okay, just try to understand this particular concept. So when you are taking a backup, okay, there are two tiers. One is operational tier, okay. So which also I call it as the instant recovery, okay, instant recovery period. And the other one is going to be your vault tier. Okay, this is my operational tier, and this particular thing is going to be my vault tier. Okay, so what happens in the operational tier when you are doing a restore? Okay, during the time in which the backup is an operational tier, for the first case it is going to be 1 to 5 days. Okay, within 1 to 5 days, if the VM is an operational tier, if the backup is an operational tier, okay, what will happen is I can restore, I can have an instant recovery. Okay, within 1 to 5 days, I can have an instant recovery. But if the data is transferred to the vault, okay, then if I try to recover it, okay, then it might take some time. The instant recovery option will not be available. Okay, so that is the concept. One is operational tier, the other one is vault tier. Okay, operational tier, the backup or the restoration process of your virtual machine, if something goes wrong, is faster, and when you put it back to the vault and when you try to restore it, it is slower. Okay, so that is the difference. So it is 1 to 5 days in operational tier. Okay, it also has a vault tier, and it is a zone redundant storage. That means multiple copies of your data is stored in the availability zones. Okay, so that is ZRS. Okay, and it is supporting trusted Azure VM. Okay, that means if you are putting the security setting as trusted, in that method also the backup is supported. And when you talk about the enhanced one, which is a more expensive one, okay, so you have multiple days backup, multiple backups per day, okay, and you have 1 to 30 operational days, okay, and all the other options are same. Okay, so the main feature or main thing is 1 to 30 days of instant recovery and multiple backups per day. But here it is only one single backup per day. Okay, so then you select the policy. Okay, so if I'll show you how to create a new policy. Okay, you will basically select the policy which you want, and that policy will define what exactly the backup should happen. Okay, so it is a full backup and it happens daily at 11 p.m. UTC, and the instant restore, that is the operational tier, will be valid for 2 days. That means I'm eligible to have an instant recovery for up to 2 days. Okay, from the period where I have taken the backup. Okay, and then the next one is retention of daily backup point. So how long do you want it to be retained? Every 30 days. So if I'm taking it today, till the next 30th day, the backup data will be retained. Okay, post that it will be deleted. Okay, so that is with respect to the retention policy of your backup. Okay, all these things which you are seeing here can be configured. Okay, I'll show you how to do it. First, let me go ahead and enable the backup for this. So I have selected my existing vault. Okay, I'm not creating a new one. I have selected my existing vault, which is vault 299. In your case, what you will be doing is you'll be selecting a create new option. Other things will stay as it is. Okay, so I'm selecting this one and I am clicking on enable backup. Okay, once I'm done with this, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and enable the backup. Okay, it might take some time, so that is why I have already done for one server. Okay, so parallelly let this also happen, that's okay. So this server has backup enabled. Okay, so I will show you how this is going to work. Okay, so go to backups. Here same settings, here you go here, this is your backup. So you have your recovery services vault attached to this one. Okay, so how do I go to recovery services vault? On top you just you just search for recovery services vault and you should be able to go there. Okay, so this is my vault 299 for which I have created my backup. Okay, this is my vault which I have created for the virtual machine, and here I can see what are the VMs which are attached to this. Okay, currently I have one VM, the other one is getting added. So this is my one VM which is getting which is added earlier, and what are the jobs which are completed. So I had enabled this like 4 days back. I guess I had done it 4 days back. So I have, okay, let me change the filter. Start date would be 31/8 done. So all these logs here I can see. Okay, so the backup happened here on this particular date, and this particular date. So what does my policy say? Okay, so what policy is attached to this particular thing? Okay, so I have 4 different policies, but how do I find out what exactly is the policy which has been attached? I'll just quickly show you. Go here, go to the web server, here go to backups. Here you can see the policy. Okay, so daily policy I7G79R. Okay, what exactly does this particular policy say? Okay, it says daily 8 a.m. UTC and recover the snapshot for 2 days. Okay, so if I want to by any chance change this particular thing to weekly now, or if I want a daily and a different time, or if I want to change the time zone, I can very well do it. Okay, so let's say I want to do it at 6:49, 7 o'clock. I don't think that would be possible. Okay, 7 o'clock Indian time. Okay, let's say I want to do that. Okay, I can go ahead and do this, and the backup will happen at 7 o'clock. Okay, so this is how you can change the policies, and also you can add a new policy depending on the service. Okay, so I'm using Azure Virtual Machine. This is a standard policy which I'm going to do. So policy name, okay, daily backup. You can probably give the time 8 p.m. IST, depending on the time zone. You can just give that, and what time you want daily 8 p.m. Okay, and the time you want is IST, Indian Standard Time. Okay, so this is UTC plus 5:30. How long do you want to restore the instant backup? It should be between 1 to 5 days. If you are putting anything beyond 5, you cannot. Okay, so 5 days would be the maximum. Okay, and 2 days or 3 days is the most recommended one, because if you are taking it daily, then you'll have a different restore point in place. Okay, and retention of daily backup point, how many days do you want it to be retained? Okay, you can put 30 days. I think you cannot put 10, you can also put 10. So how long, depending on when you want to how long do you want to restore this point, you can just mention it here. Okay, and apart from that, if you're taking a weekly point, then you can have it like whichever week is you think is crucial for every week, you can just do that here. And if you're taking like a monthly point for then every first Sunday or every particular date or whatever the date is on first or whatever day it is, you can restore it for how much ever time you want. And if you're taking a yearly point, you can do that as well. So depending on what exactly you're doing, and you can mention that, okay, this is my monthly point first of every month, or this is my yearly point for like first of this month, this particular day I'm going to retain it. How long do you want it to be retained? So all these things you can very well do it with this particular thing. Okay, so you go ahead and create this particular policy. Okay, so that is pretty much how you create your backup policy. Okay, so done. So this is with respect to backup. Okay, how do you use these backups? Okay, and how do you like work on it? I will explain you. Okay, so your backups are basically divided into three types. Okay, so it is depending on the consistency. Okay, consistency. So your backup is divided into three types. One is application consistent, one is crash consistent, the other one is file system consistent. Okay, so depending on the state of your virtual machine, okay, your backups are taken. Okay, so an app consistent backup is one which has the RAM information, okay, or you could say the application data. So whatever is running on the application at that point in time, it is going to be captured on your application consistent backup. Okay, and crash consistent backup, the backup was taken when your VM is in shutdown state. Okay, shutdown state. So that is basically your crash consistent backup. Okay, if your VM is in shutdown state and there is a backup policy, then the backup is taken. Okay, so that is basically a crash consistent backup. And file system consistent backup is basically it is in between your app consistent and crash consistent. Okay, where the VM is running. Okay, VM is running, but only the file system is captured. Okay, so there is no app data. If you're running SQL, whatever jobs are running, that is not captured. Okay, so that is the example which I can give you. Only the file system, whatever is there on your data disk, whatever is there on your C drive, D drive, all those will be captured. Anything beyond that, like the application, what is running, and all those things will not be captured. That is basically your file system consistent backup. Okay, app consistent, it is going to capture the application data. Crash consistent is when your system is down. Okay, so when it is in shutdown state, the backup is taken. That is a crash consistent backup. File system consistent is basically when the VM is running, but only the file system backup is taken. Okay, so these are the three different varieties of backups which you can take. Any doubts, anything which are not clear? If you're
Akash, one
clear,
doubt.
yeah, tell me.
In backup operational standard backup option,
Mm-hmm.
in operational layer 1 to 5 operational layer is there, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. If we use that, you told that if we use that, that will be easy recovery,
Instant recovery, yes.
instant recovery.
Yeah.
How many days it will take for taking recovery? If one of my web
You're
server is down,
recovering, if something goes wrong and you're trying to recover the VM, that is your question, then it will hardly take 1 to 2 hours.
1 to 2 hours. Okay, okay.
So basically what happens here is when you're taking a snapshot, okay, when your VM, you're taking a backup, right? Okay,
Okay.
don't get confused between snapshot and backup. Okay, so this is your VM. What happens here is you're taking a copy of your VM. Okay, so you're taking a copy. This copy, okay, stays in the VM. Okay, this copy stays in the VM. Okay, it is called a instant recovery. Okay, when this particular data, okay, this particular data is sent to the vault. Okay, the vault is the place where your backups are stored. Okay, then that becomes your vault tire. Okay, once
Why
this
it is taking more time for recovery?
because
Why
it's
it
in a
is taking?
different place.
Because it is in more secure place.
It is in a vault.
It is like a locker.
Correct. You just copy it, okay, and you send it to this. Okay, so by the time you are recovering it from here, it is going to take some more time. Clear?
Okay, understood.
Fine. Okay, and okay, so going back to my VM. Okay, so I think okay. Web server 1. Okay, here if I check the backups of my virtual machine, okay, here I can see that the backup is successful. Okay, I have 4 crash consistent backups wherein during the weekend I did not turn on these VMs. Okay, so there are 4 crash consistent and 2 application consistent backups. Okay, wherein the VM was running and the backup was taken 31st first, and then second, third, fourth, fifth, the VM was in shutdown state. That is when these crash consistent backups were taken. Okay, and if I have to see my instant recovery point, okay, for these ones it has expired. Okay, it has gone to vault standard. Okay, here, but I have the operational tier wherein it says that snapshot and vault stand both are available. Snapshot is nothing but operational tier or instant recovery. Okay, for this it is available. For these 3, since it is past my instant recovery point, it has gone to the standard part. Okay, so when you try to recover these 2, there is going to be a significant difference in the time. Okay, so that is with respect to the restoration. Okay, now I will show you how to restore a VM. Okay, so when you are clicking on restore option, okay, you need to select the restore point, which point you want to select. Okay, I can go with this particular point. Okay, this is the latest recovery point which I have. Here I get 2 options, whether I can create a new VM. Okay, I can either create a new VM or replace the existing virtual machine. Okay, 2 options are there for me. Either I can create a new VM or replace the existing one. Okay, and here you need to give the restoration type, either it is a creation of new VM or restoring the disks or just replacing the disk. That is your restoration type, and the VM name. Okay, let me put it this way: restored from backup. Okay, this is the VM name which I am giving. Okay, and you need to select your resource group. Okay, and it must contain 3 to 15. Okay, restored. And resource group name, I need to select the VNet where it needs to be part of. Okay, and I need to give a staging location. Okay, for giving a staging location, I need to have a storage account. Okay, first I need to create a storage account. So I need to create a storage account. We will get to storage account later. Okay, but just I'll quickly show you how to create a new storage account. Go to storage accounts, click on create, give the resource group name. Okay, you need to create it in the same region as your existing VM. Okay,
Akash,
so
one doubt. Sorry for the disturbance.
yeah, please, please.
In your screen, it is no. Go back to the browser. Yeah. In your
Yeah,
screen, you are having home and a restore virtual machine, create a storage account. All are different accounts. Or for single account, you are opening multiple tabs.
single account, same account.
Shall we open that? It will not be any problem, no?
No, you can do that.
Yeah, actually, I have that doubt. Sorry, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so you go here, click on storage accounts. Okay, first you need to see which region your VM is part of. Since it's West US 3, I need to create my storage account in that particular region. Okay, so storage account, it should be a unique one. You cannot have like the same one. It should be something unique across the globe. So you need to create it in West US 3. Okay, go with standard, premium. You can create a LRS. Okay, you can create LRS. I will explain all these concepts as we progress. Right now, it is not required. Just review and create. Okay, it is a different service altogether. Okay, so as of now, this is not required. Just go ahead and create the storage account. Okay, done. So what you need to do here is you need to do a quick refresh, go back to the store VM name. Okay, select the restore point. Okay, and select the point here, and you want to replace, create a new one. Okay, VM name restored and RG, and then the VNet which you want to deploy, and the staging account. Okay, once you have this in place, click on restore. Okay, as of now, do not worry about what exactly the storage account will do. Okay, we are going to discuss about that in detail because that is a whole service altogether. Just like your virtual machine, your storage account is also a service altogether. Okay, just as of now, just go create a new storage account and use this in this particular restoration process. Okay, that is pretty much what you need for now. Okay, later we will discuss about it and what exactly it does. We can work on it. Okay, so so once this is done, the restoration job is going to be kicked in. Okay, so we can track that particular job again in a recovery services vault. Okay, so this is where your recovery services vault will come in handy. Okay, you can see all the operations of all your virtual machines. How many ever virtual machines you're going to add, all those jobs are going to be here. Okay, so that is with respect to this. So here you see this is your web server one, and you have your restoration job in place. Okay, so you can see what exactly is happening, and we should have a new virtual machine. See, the progress is also being tracked. Okay, 5% complete. Okay, so depending on the data, how much data is being there, it is going to take so much time. See, transfer data from vault, it is done, and create the restored virtual machine. So it is kicked in. So we should have a new virtual machine having the same configuration as our web server one in some time. Okay, so this is pretty much how you are going to create a restoration job using your backups. Any doubts, anything with respect to backups, anything which are not clear about? Karthik, Dilip, Felix.
Please come again that last point, the restore point, please.
Restore point is basically restoration point, the app consistent or some, which one?
The final step, final step.
That is, click on restore VM. You select your restoration point, which point you want to restore from. Okay, restore from, and here you give the VM name and everything. Okay, and the staging location, the storage account which you are creating, right? You put that here and click on restore. That's it. Fine. Yeah, Karthik, tell me. I saw you on mute. Any doubts?
For that restoration virtual machine, we need to create that
Storage account.
storage account, right?
Yeah. Guys, 5 minutes, I'll be back. Okay. Just give me 5 minutes, I'll be back. You can just create the backups